whether it's your late teen, early 20s, college years, where you're up to no good, making dumb decisions, or whether it's the partners you've chosen or the type of friends you've chosen, your old ways. And I understand when you may look at pictures, when you may look back at your old self, you may be embarrassed. You may be ashamed of the type of things you were up to, or the person you were, or the things that you were allowing. But I really want you to start to understand that that's a part of your whole story. Because one thing I've learned, and I know for sure, one of our purposes in our lives is to keep returning home to ourselves. Because we'll lose ourselves in relationships, we'll lose ourselves in situations, we'll lose ourselves in our own decisions. But there's such a beauty in realizing that's not our truth and coming back to yourself over and over again in life. And to really understand that's how life works and that's the process, maybe will allow you then to give yourself some grace. Whether you want to take it back to childhood, where you're being bullied, where you're the ugly duckling, where maybe family, friends weren't treating you with the most love. If you really think back to everything that version of you and the past versions of you has gone through, don't you have a little bit of patience and respect and honor for that version of you? She went through a lot. She really didn't know everything, but she tried to do the best with what information and the life experiences that she had. Really connect back to those versions of you, even if it wasn't your best self. Because you cannot look inside yourself and really understand your truths and who you truly are without looking at those parts of yourself. There's so much beauty, so much information, so many patterns, and so many things about you that you can uncover with those old versions of yourself. Yet you want to hide, be ashamed of, and almost forget about the old version of you. You feel like you want to deny that part of you because those versions of you also deserve love. They deserve recognition. And most of all, they deserve a thank you. Because you did it scared, you did it unknowingly, you did it alone. You are basically in a trial and error of life. So as you were figuring life out, you were met with situations, with parts of yourself that weren't prepared for those situations. So those old decisions you made that you regret, that you're almost ashamed of, accept them. Give those decisions love, even if they're crazy. You know, it's almost like we expect that the version, our ideal dream version of ourselves, we're not going to be born like that. You have to go through trials and tribulations, right? To become the person you want, for your life to be the way you want it to. So how about respect that journey? Because you don't come out the womb knowing everything, prepared, ready, and just a version of yourself that, again, doesn't happen overnight. You don't come out the womb like that. So those old versions of you were just inching you towards where your life is going, who you're becoming. And honestly, life is a journey of coming back to yourself over and over again. So the fact that the old versions of you were just almost unfolding the newer versions of you is such a beautiful thing. The amount of years I was living with shutting those parts of myself out is crazy to me. I am so connected to the older parts of myself and my inner child because of all the inner work I've done. I'm so much more complete because I've reconnected with those parts of myself. My story makes so much more sense to me now. Who I truly am makes more sense to me now because I've went back and visited my little girl. I want to know more about her. Go back, read your little journals, look at pictures, reconnect. And guess what? It's not easy. It may make you cry or it may make you feel ashamed for whatever reasons, especially if you've really, really shut that part of yourself out for a long time. But these are ways that you can start to rebuild that relationship with the old you. Because the old you is not just the past and a write off. The old you is also needed for you to go to where you're trying to go in your life. Because, like I always say, living a life of authenticity and living in your truth is the most optimal way to live, feel happy, manifest your dreams. There's a magic in living as your authentic, true self. And how do you become your authentic, true selves? By understanding all parts of you. That includes past and current you. So it's almost like your life is incomplete without that puzzle piece. You can't build the whole puzzle, leaving so many important pieces out that tell the story. It may take you a while, but I know it's possible. One step at a time to reconnect with your old self so you're not hating on your old self, your old life, your old ways, who you used to be anymore. Because what? She took all that heat, she went through all that to bring you to where you are today, and that's it? No. Be a ride or die for yourself. Bring yourself along with you. Yes, that sounds crazy, but it's true. Bring yourself along with you because a lot of us are not bringing all the parts of us with us. And we cut out parts of the story as though we only want the part that looks great and shiny and amazing. No, no. We bring the bad, the good, the ugly, all of it with us. And that's how you become whole. And that's how you really stop getting dragged around like a rag doll and people telling you who you are. Do you understand? Sometimes we believe lies because you don't know yourself. Because the more work you do on yourself, the more you dig, the more you understand yourself, you cannot get pushed around. Nobody can tell you about you. Because right now, if you're believing other people and what they say and you're getting offended, that means there's parts of you you have denied and you haven't accessed. Because there's a lot of power, there's a lot of magic in those parts of you. So use that information to feel more confident, to understand yourself better, so that you can stand firm in who you are and nobody can take that away from you. It really does come down to self-love, to be honest. Love yourself. Love every part of yourself. And we go around wanting unconditional love, desiring that from our family, friends, partners. Are you giving yourself that unconditional love though? Unconditional love, what does that look like? Doesn't matter what you did, what happened, this, and I still love you. Doesn't matter. Unconditionally, I still love you. So until you can't say that to yourself confidently and genuinely, you got work to do. It really comes down to if you truly love yourself, you love all parts of yourself. That's it, bottom line. And going down that path also allows you to forgive yourself. A lot of times we've done things in our past or we've accepted things or in our past and we have that pain inside ourselves because we allowed it. So how about going back and making amends with that side of yourself and coming to terms with and healing those parts of yourself that allowed that stuff instead of being so angry of that version of you that you just shut it out. So do you understand this journey backwards to your old versions of yourself, how powerful that can be? There's a lot of work back there, okay? And if you want to truly go forward in a happy, stable, solid, strong way, strong sense of self, strong self-concept, then you got to look at every single part of yourself, the good and the bad, and heal it, bring it to surface so there's no more there. Once you clear it all out, nothing left. How good you're going to feel, because there's a lot of heaviness, whether you know it or not, from the past. Until you really look at it, understand it, heal it, come to terms with it, forgive it, whatever you need to do to make that relationship a healthy one. Again, bring you with you along the journey. Don't leave you behind. It'll change your energy, it'll change your confidence, it'll change a lot. It's work. And it may start off scary and it may be emotional. Once you really join forces with the old you, you'll become a powerhouse and somebody that cannot be messed with. You got to understand that. So to up your quality of life, do the work. Do the work. Stop hating on the old versions of you. Love the old versions of you. The fact that you're just going to close your eyes, blind eye towards you, make that make sense. You should be celebrating the old you. The old you is a soldier. The old you is a trooper. The old you went through a lot. And I don't think the version of who you are today would be sitting here without that version of you before. So I want to sit here now and flip the script on our old selves and tell you to change the narrative. Stop hiding, stop denying, stop pushing that version away from you, because at the end of the day, that was you, is you, and will always be a part of you. Everybody has a story. And those characters in the story, aka past versions of you, were needed. When the script was such, it needed that type of a role. And as the story changes and evolves and moves forward, we need different versions of ourselves and roles to play those parts. So it makes sense. So stop hating on it. Appreciate those parts of yourself. They're so important and a part of that full picture and story of your life. Nobody has a perfect story. And remember, people have it worse than you. People have gone through so many things. And I'm not saying compare yourself, but sometimes to pull that gratitude out of yourself, you got to really look at how good you have it or how bad it could have been. So I want you to stop pushing down and suppressing young you, the old version of you, or the past decisions you've made, or the type of person you were. And the time period before life happens, when you were those younger versions of yourself. I mean, even if you look at pictures or think back, there's such an innocence. There's such an innocence to those parts of yourselves and those versions of yourselves. And to just connect with that, you know, the innocence of a child before life started happening and reality hits, you're an adult, it's not the same. Just connect back to that innocence. Because you wouldn't do that to your own child, to family, to somebody you really love, right? And just completely shut them out. No. We're re-bringing back and reconnecting to the old parts of ourselves. The younger you, the past you, she should be walking side by side with the current you. There's no reason. She has experience, she has wisdom, she has a lot of information and gone through a lot of things. Wouldn't she be the best guide for you, for your future, for your next parts of your life? So bring her back, connect with her, love her. Put together the full picture of who you are and how you've gotten here, because you couldn't have done it without her. We're forever indebted to the parts of ourselves that survived all of that shit, okay? The soldier part of ourselves, the scared, unexperienced parts of ourselves that went through all of that, and really use all of that power to shift your reality forward, because that inner work will show. It'll show in your outer world. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. What is your reason for shutting out your past self, your younger self, the old versions of yourself? If you've worked on it and in fact reconnected with old parts of yourselves and you no longer shut it out, I would love to hear your experience on that. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.